Okay, Ray asks, what music have you discovered this year that you would recommend? It'd probably be... It's this band called Carbon. They're kind of like Meshuggah. So, you know, gent, but time signature is just crazy and changing and very, very technical metal. But yeah, I really enjoyed listening to them. If you're a bit of a rhythm nut like me, then you will enjoy them. But yeah, I'd definitely check them out. They're really cool.
Okay, first question is from Catty. What is the weirdest merch idea you've ever considered, and have you ever considered pants? Okay, I'll answer part 2 first. Yes, we have considered pants. We thought we could probably get Marassa Molasses Fear to Tread written on the front of them. Fear to Tread being from this EP here, Fear to Tread. We thought that was quite funny. I think it was probably Bones' idea. That sounds right to me.
Oh my God, I can't believe it!
So maybe we will do that in the future. Who knows, eh? And what is the weirdest? The weirdest one that we've come up with is Marassa Molasses branded condoms.
Give me my rubber johnnies! Hang on.
We didn't get them done because, well, we didn't want to get sued if something went wrong.
Condoms are only like 97% effective.
What?
That was all, really.
And so this question is from Rob. The recent Bear River rework was great. Are there any other old songs you consider revisiting with fresh eyes? Right, for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, last month, specifically for our Patreons, we reworked a song off our first EP called Bear River. And hopefully by the magic of technology, I should be able to put a link to that video here. I think that's the right side. And so, yeah, so we reworked that song, which is obviously from an EP way back in 2015, a long time ago. And I guess what Rob's asking here is if we consider redoing that with any of the other songs that we've done before. And I guess you have to look at the reason why we actually decided to rework Bear River. And actually, I did a whole video explaining this.
Oh, really?
Which was last month's Walk Down Monry Lane, which again, hopefully I can put a link to here. So if you want an in-depth look, check out that video. But in summary, it was a song that I felt never really lived up to the vision. It was quite a serious subject matter, and I wanted the song to have that kind of weight to it, whereas I had always felt in the back of my mind that it never quite reached that, and so that was the reason I specifically wanted to rework Bear River. Now, I can't off the top of my head think of any other songs that I would want to do that with.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
That's not to say that there aren't songs I'd love to go back and tweak, because every songwriter always, once they've recorded stuff, always thinks, oh, I could have done that a little bit better, that little bit a bit better.
I knew you would like it.
I think that's the reason why Bear River was very unique in that respect. But most of the other songs I think I've recorded, I'm relatively happy.
Alright, this one is from Darren. If a group or artist tour was set up with a band from another genre outside of the heavy rock world, who would you like that artist to be? Probably choose Funkadelic because they're amazing, and I've heard that their gigs are absolutely ridiculous. So yeah.
Question 2 is from Darren. Star Trek question. Okay, which non-human race would each member of the band be, and why? That's a hard question, Darren. I've done a bit of research. Oh, by the way, Bones, Raj, I'm really sorry if I offend either of you.
It's quite all right.
So Bones, I'd say he's part Ferengi. Obviously, he's the manager of the band. Part Orion Greenskin slave girl. He sort of dances around on stage, doesn't he? Raj, I'd say he is a Vulcan.
All I know is logic.
Whenever you speak to Raj, he's always got like an interesting fact or factoid about something. He loves learning.
I find your arguments strewn with gaping defects in logic.
And me, I don't have a clue. Huge tribble, perhaps.
Our next question is from Tara. I love the narrative nature of some of your songs. Will this be a trend you will continue? Well, thanks, Tara. It's good that you noticed that there's that nature in my songs. I mean, to be honest with you, for me, songs are stories.
I'm glad you're here because it's story time.
I mean, that's just how I look at them. They have characters, they have plots, they have places where they exist. They are a story. That is kind of how I approach songwriting. So I don't really know how to write songs any other way.
I'm the storyteller, and my stories must be told.
And I'd be interested to know if people think that there are songs that I've written that haven't got a narrative to, because that's interesting to me if people can't necessarily pick up on the narrative, but pretty much all of them have got a narrative. Some of them are really explicit and really obvious, like this one's about a rail disaster, this one's about, a massive tidal wave of molasses going through a town. But other songs, I guess, are more subtle, if they're about like personal feelings and that. But I assure you, they all have a story behind them, so they all do have a narrative in a way. So I pretty much think that every song I write is going to have one, because that's the way I write songs. But thanks for the question, Tara.
All right. Brendan asks, if it's too loud, you're too old. Discuss. I think, especially with our music, it's important that we are moving air, as Bones would put it. But yeah, being loud is important, especially with us. However, if it's so loud that we're causing pain, then I think it's a bit too loud. We want you guys to be able to listen to us over and over again, not just once. But yeah, loud enough that you can actually feel it in your gut, but not so loud that things are bleeding.
I can roll.
Question 3 is from Rob. When you get band action figures made, what will the action figure be for each? So, like, Action Man.
Now with eagle eyes that actually move.
The karate chop. Oh, Bones would have a karate kick. Raj would be like a drummer's hit, so like... Me, a little harder, I'd say like a hair flip. Yeah, definitely. Oh, finger guns. Yes, finger guns. That's it, that one. Finger guns.
The next question is from Kate. Is there a figure from history who has had a particular impact on you? Good question. Now, instantly hundreds of people popped into my head, all these amazingly influential people like writers and, activists and all these things. But I tried to think of somebody maybe that wasn't just of recent times, somebody that maybe had captured my imagination for a reasonable amount of time. And now, people that know me well, this probably won't surprise them, but I'm going to say Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Now, some of you might be going, who the hell is that? He's a guy, an engineer, I guess, a Victorian engineer that kind of is responsible for the Great Western Railway, really, and he's an engineer that dared to reach, and I'm talking about him as a historical figure, I guess, and somebody that pushed progress in certain areas. Now, I'm sure if I delved into his character as an actual person, I would probably find things that I maybe didn't agree with, because he was a man of his time, probably, but the point is, I'm not really talking about him as a person. I'm more talking about what he represented to me, I guess, and he represented like this incredible drive and not really willing to take no for an answer, and willing to like kind of graft, I guess, and willing to fail as well. I mean, he had a lot of obviously famous projects that worked, but he had a lot of famous projects that didn't work, and he just carried on, and I really admired that about him. So there you go, Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
Kate asks, if you could be any mythological figure, who would you be and why? I would probably pick a vampire, but specifically from Anne Rice novels. And yes, I am a teenage goth girl. I started reading them, listening to them on Audible around last year. And yeah, I just really enjoyed them quite a lot. But the thing I really, really like about the Anne Rice vampires is the way that they deal with the fact that they cannot die, and also their idea of what good and evil actually is kind of changes depending on how long they've been living. which kind of interests me, because when we live as short a life as we do, things that seem really bad, if you're living for hundreds and hundreds of years, they're just moments experienced loads and loads of times. So like killing one person, for example, may seem like a really, really evil act when you're only on this earth for like 80 years. But when you're on the earth for 1,000, you know, that one death will start to seem more and more insignificant. And I just really like the way that Anne Rice explores that in the books. Out of morbid curiosity, I think I would be interested to kind of see how that feels.
Okay, and question 4 is from Darren. What is your favourite album cover? Good question, Darren. So, my favourite is by King Crimson, In the Court of the Crimson King. I've got the vinyl here. That is why it's my favourite album cover. Love it. Okay, and the inside as well is pretty cool. It's a very bloodshot-eyed, tired man doing really funny things with his hands. But yeah, that is my favourite album cover of all time, because there's just so much detail in it and it's a really good picture. I've got a few honourable mentions because I went through my vinyl collection, obviously, to get that out, and I thought I'd pick out a few more. So I've got another one here by a band called Child. Okay, see that one there? Ooh, there we go. It's their first EP, I believe. I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't have anything on it, unfortunately. But yeah, I just love all the detail here with the protagonist sort of watching and stuff. You can't really see, but the swirls are really shiny. Maybe I'll try it. No, but like they sort of pop out when you look at it from a distance. So yeah, I love that. But also, what I like about it is if you turn it round, you see the reverse of the scene. So it's the big figure there. It's his back, and there's people there sort of reaching up, and it's an animal, a stag of something just watching on, which I really like. And again, the swirl. But yeah, I really like that. Child. They're sort of like stoner fuzzed up blues. There's only 4 songs on this one, but I've got a few albums since then, which are pretty good too. But this is my favourite. So check that out. What else have I got? Oh, I've got the Swords first album here, Age of Winters. I just love the artwork on this, because not only is it a great picture, but like while you're listening to it, because obviously when you listen to vinyl, you look at the cover and look at all the detail and stuff, don't you? So you see bits and pieces in the background that you can look at, and obviously there's the ladies to the side with their horns and things. Yeah, I like that. Really like that one too. And it's a fucking good album, excuse my language. Great album. And also, finally, sort of like a wild card, but again, it's really good to look at while you're listening to it. Sleep's Holy Mountain, see? I mean, yes, that might look a lot of like scribble and stuff, you know, when you're a kid, you just sort of fill a page with biro and scribble and stuff. But if while you're listening to it, while you're staring at it, you pick out all these little bits and pieces around the edge, and like all these pictures and stuff, and I quite enjoy doing that while listening to it. And again, great album. Check that out. If you've not listened to it, you're missing out. And yeah, that's that. I do have a couple of honourable mentions that I don't own as well. I'm not really into their music, but any of the Yes albums are great. There's all like psychedelic landscapes by an artist called Roger Dean. So yeah, they're really good. And there's another one that I don't own, but I know Bones does on vinyl. It's a Status Quo album called Blue For You, and it's just them wearing quadruple denim or something, like shirt, jeans, tie, waistcoat, you name it, they're wearing it. and I love it purely because it's like, how much denim can you fit on an album? And the answer's none more denim.
Right, final question. This is from Will, and this is, if you could travel to any place in time, where, when, and why? Okay, so I had a good old think about this, and as soon as you talk about travelling to a different time, it made me think of like a sort of a memory from my childhood. And there was a film that I used to enjoy watching. It was a film adaptation of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and the idea that you could sit in this machine, push this lever forward, and then everything starts changing about you as you move through time. And that just, I absolutely loved it. Loved that film. I mean, I watch it back now, and obviously the effects look a little bit, dated, but it's got a charm to it. I like that. And so that idea of moving backwards and forwards through time is something that I've kind of always thought about ever since a little boy, really. And I guess where I wanted to go has changed. I think when I was younger, and especially after watching the film, when he goes forward, if you haven't seen the film, he goes forward and he gets really far into the future to a point where the human race is divided into two different types, Eloi and the Morlocks, I think. And they sort of have this weird symbiotic relationship, but it's not necessarily symbiotic because like one of them feeds on the other one. Anyway, it's a bit weird, but it kind of captured my imagination as a kid, and so I always thought about going forward in time. And then I went through a bit of a phase of thinking about dinosaurs, that, and then wanted to go back in time and see the dinosaurs, and I'm sure everybody's thought about that. But as an adult, more of a nostalgic musician, let's just say, I think if I was to be forced to make a decision right now, I would say that the time I would want to go back to would be 1970, and the place would be the Isle of Wight Festival, because for me there's just something, I've watched plenty of videos of it, and I mean the artists that played it, for those of you that don't know, it's crazy. It's like Jimi Hendrix, Joni Mitchell, Paradise, put up a parking lot, Jethro Tull, The Doors, Miles Davis, Sly and the Family Stone, and like one of my favourite ever bands, Free. All I need is a friend. They all played this festival on the Isle of Wight, and it was like there was something about it. It was a particular moment in time, I think. It was, I mean, a lot of people say it was our Woodstock. And so I think that really appeals to me. And obviously, if I could go back and actually play it, that would be perfect. But even if I just was able to go back and visit it, I think I would have really enjoyed that. And just being there in this moment in time, what it feels like for me. I mean, Jimi Hendrix died 3 weeks after he played there. It was his last UK gig, so it was really a thing that didn't happen again. So yeah, Isle of Wight Festival, 1970, that's where I want to go back to. Hope that answers your question. Right, that's all my questions. Cheers guys, see you next month, bye. Just to do